We're here at the Rather Dashing Games booth here at Gencon. Can you tell me your name and a little bit of what you do here?
Yeah, my name is Grant Wilson. I do all the art for Rather Dashing Games. We started the company a few years ago with my best friend I've known since I was 5. He's a game designer. I do the art. It's perfect. We have kind of a hive mind, so we can make the games very quickly, and people love them.
How many games have you made so far?
5. We have 5 games out. He's made over a dozen, but we have 5 as a company. And I think people are starting to realize what kind of games we make, and they're really starting to catch on.
Yeah, well, I picked up my own Pirates, Ninjas, Robots, and Zombies game. I'm ready for to have the Smackdown. I mean, this game's got everything. So, but yeah. So, can you tell me a little bit about if you personally collect anything, or if you know anybody who does in your family?
My collection is board games. I have way too many. Well, in my mind, not enough, but it's more just because I study them and I like them, and I've been making them my whole life, only now professionally. But my son is a big collector. He collects. I have 3 kids. 2 of them are collectors. One of them collects everything Sonic, everything Mario. He knows way more about them than the people.
My kind of kid. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And we went to PAX East, and he was at the Sonic booth, Sega booth, and he was teaching the people there, or correcting them on the stuff. And I'm like, just gonna stop, but they were loving it. They thought it was awesome. And I have another son that collects. He's more of a video game collector. Okay. So when he's in the video game, he gets everything.
Oh, okay.
Like League of Legends, he's got all the guys, and all this stuff, and he collects that, and he's like a stat collector, more than actually the coins or anything like that, or figures. But he does play Kaijudo like a champ and a boss. And
awesome. That's really cool. Okay. Well, do you have a website that people can go to check out your stuff?
Absolutely. Ratherdashinggames.com.
Okay.
Very simple.
Very good. Okay. All right. Well, thanks, Grant. Appreciate your time.
Cool.
So we're here at Arcane Wonders here at Gencon at the booth. Can you tell me your name and a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My name is Scott Morris. I am Vice President of Business Development for the company. It's my responsibility to make sure all the cool games we make get out into the hands of the public and they enjoy them.
Awesome. Okay. Can you tell me a little bit about if you collect something?
I do collect quite a lot of things. My passion is around Batman, as you can see from my lanyard immediately right there. But I have jewelry between watches. I have rings that I collect. I try to find things that are a little more esoteric, things that aren't just like the action figure and things like that. Although I do have action figures, and it's been something that I've done for a very long time, just as a hobby. I started at a very young age. I got really lucky. I had a family friend when I was growing up at a comic book store, and he knew Bob Kane personally.
He knew Bob Kane?
He knew Bob Kane, Bob Kane, yeah. And he introduced me to him at a very young age. And it was very much like that Mickey Mantle moment, right, where you meet someone who you're like, wow, you're the guy who made Batman, and I love Batman. It's awesome, right?
What kind of conversations did you have with him?
Well, I was very young, so it wasn't very intellectual. It was more whoa, things like that. But it was really amazing to me, and I remember looking back on that time, and when I find things that I'm collecting and looking for, it more is stuff that reminds me of that moment and that time and being able to meet him. I only met him once, but it was still an amazing experience. And I grew up loving Batman. I love the story. I love the drama, the intrigue, and all the stuff going on with him as Bruce Wayne and him as Batman. So it was just something that's kept on throughout my adult life and everything. So I don't have any underoos. That's a different video, a different discussion. But anything unique, right? I mean, just the other day we were at a show, and there was another vendor who had something I'd never seen before from Batman. It was like this game that was a chibi doll of Batman. And I looked at it and I was like, I'm never going to play that. I'm never going to play that game. and I'm buying it. just to have that one unique thing that was completely different, and be able to sit in the shelf and be that collector's piece. So
that's an awesome story. So how can we find out more about what you do here?
So for us, it's really easy. You can go to arcanewonders.com. We make 2 different types of games. We make a game called Mage Wars, which is a dueling battle of mages that's played out through cards.
It's a really popular game here.
It is, yeah. We're number 25 on Board Game Geek's top list of all time. We're very, very highly publicized, and a lot of people like the game. We're doing very well with it. And then we just have a brand new game that we released right now called Sheriff of Nottingham. This is in a new line of games called the Dice Tower Essentials. If you're familiar with the board game world, of course, you know who the Dice Tower is. They're one of the more notable reviewer sites. Tom Vassell himself has put his stamp on these games, basically saying they're games that I love, they're games that are essential to any gamer's collection, and we're going to be bringing them out as their own line of games. They're going to be a multitude of different types. This is a medieval bluffing negotiation game. The next game coming out is going to be a very light steampunk European type game. So they're going to be all across the board, but they're all going to be fun. Our big thing is about the experience. We want people to open a box and have the best experience possible. So that's what we work for.
That's awesome. Okay, well, Scott, thanks for your time, and I appreciate have a good Gen Con.
Thank you. You guys too. Appreciate it.
All right, I'll see you. All right, we're at the booth here of Jeff Mangas. Can you tell me what it is that you do here?
Well, I've been an illustrator in the fantasy gaming business for a while, longer than I want to think about. Over 25 years. Been involved in numerous role-playing games and a lot of card games, and I was an initial artist for Magic the Gathering.
Magic the Gathering, I love Magic the Gathering. At one time I had a unlimited Black Lotus that I couldn't get $50 for, but back in '96.
That wasn't any time recent.
No, yeah. I'll bet I get my $50 now. But anyway, no, you're doing a book. Can you tell me a little bit about the book? It's called The Gathering.
Yep.
Reuniting Pioneer Artists of Magic the Gathering. What is that about?
Well, we put together a Kickstarter. I was having a dinner with Brian Wackwitz, actually, who came into Magic during Legends, I believe. And we were talking about what was going to be done for the 20th anniversary of the game. Okay. And a lot of the artists involved early on were hoping there might be some sort of a tribute product or something might come up. And the closer we got to the anniversary, we realized it wasn't going to be anything like that.
Wow. Okay.
So Brian and I kind of hashed it out and realized that maybe we could do something ourselves. And I started, between the two of us, we still had connections with a large number of the original artists involved in the beginning. We kind of put the list together. It's common information about who was out there. And we kind of started moving on it. And I definitely took the initiative, but Brian sparked the idea. And I am a cover designer by 9 to 5. So I've been in book publishing, and I know people in the business for 16 years. So I had things in place to get the job done. I knew that wasn't going to be an issue. The biggest issue was whether or not Wizards of the Coast would feel that this was something they wanted to let us do.
Were they receptive to it?
They were more than receptive to it. They were very supportive. They loved the idea, actually. They couldn't support it directly. Book publishing's just not something they do anymore. Okay. But they loved the idea, and everything that I asked about, they were able to help me with. And they did get to look over the project because their logo is all over it, and it does carry a lot of what their product and their brand is concerned with. Okay. But they were great to work with, and nobody that has received the book has given me any bad press about it. Once they get it in their hands, they're very happy with the product. It's been good that way.
I personally own the book myself.
Right.
I picked it up. I didn't get to see it until after Kickstarter was already over, but it's a fantastic book. The artwork in it, from like the updated artwork that all the original artists posted, is just fantastic.
Well, I think a lot of them are waiting for that opportunity.
Yeah, especially yours. I love the Black Knight. Black Knight still has one of the coolest quotes on the flavor text.
Thank you. I had nothing to do with that. But
I understand, but it's still a really, really cool piece, and I really like the updated artwork on it.
Nice.
What other artworks did you do for Magic?
For Alpha or
just any of the card arts? Like, what are you most known for, would you say?
Well, the cards because all of my cards are in older sets, I get a lot of interest today from vintage and legacy format players.
Yep.
And the cards that come to my table for signing the most are Moat and Bizarre Baghdad.
Oh, Moat, yeah.
And Swords to Plowshares is a staple still in so many decks. Even though there's a lot of different versions of it, a lot of the guys that play the vintage decks prefer to use mine because it's the original.
Oh, yeah.
You get Grizzly Bear still shows up with a lot of regularity. And I think probably, the Black Knight's definitely in there too.
Yeah.
He probably rounds out the top 5.
Oh, that's cool. Very good. If we wanted to find out more about where we can find out more about the book, what can we tell people?
If you're interested in the book, you can look it up on Facebook. There's a number of pages on Facebook about the project itself.
Okay.
It's published by Full Steam Press, which is my operation.
Okay.
And you can order the book directly from www.fullsteampress.com.
Okay. All right. Well, Jeff, I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks for everything you do.
Take care.
Okay, so we're here at the GameCrafter.com booth. Can you tell me your name and a little bit about what you do here?
Chavis Parker, and I'm one of the co-founders of the Game Crafter. We print board games on demand, and we can do it in as little as a week and a half if you have a board game idea.
That's pretty cool. So anybody can make just about any game they want? What type of game? A board game?
Card games, board games, tarot decks, even custom playing cards. We can do pretty much all of it. You take your artwork, throw it up on the site, we print it, shrink wrap it, and send it to you.
That's cool. Do you collect anything?
I do. I actually I do collect games because I'm in that industry, but I'd say more unique thing I collect is actually company memorabilia. So I have a couple different companies, and over the years I collect everything from T-shirts to different marketing brochures and kind of everything, a little bit of everything.
Okay, so why do you do that?
I think at some point when we look back, we'll be able to see like this journey that we were on, that me and my co-founders were on. And it's just kind of a cool thing, it's sentimental value. You celebrate the successes and also the failures.
Yeah, so you get to record all the history of everything going on. That's actually a really good idea. So, okay, yeah, cool. So how can people find Game Crafter? What's your website?
The Game Crafter is www.thegamecrafter.com.
Excellent. Okay, cool. All right, we'll be on there. So, all right, thanks. Thanks for your time.
Thanks a lot.
Cool. Can you tell me your name and a little bit about what you do?
My name is Monty Moore. I'm a full-time fantasy illustrator in the gaming, comics, and film world for about 20 years now as a freelancer.
Okay. Can you tell me what it is that you collect or a story about your collection?
Well, I create a lot of artwork for other people's collections, but my own personal habit for quite a while was motorcycles. So I've owned almost 40 over the years. And even in my 20s, at one time, the most I had was 16 bikes at one time, which all ran, and some were collectible and some were ones I just rode.
Okay. Can you tell me a little bit? You said that you create pieces for other people's collections. Can you elaborate more on that?
Yeah, a lot of what I do, because I create original art, I'm not using a computer. So most of the time the collectors know who's doing original real art. Otherwise you're collecting a reproduction. And any of the serious collectors, they're way past any sort of digital or Photoshop created art. They want original sketches or paintings like you might see here in the booth. And so I work with a lot of collectors who are into that original art, whether it be from a comic book or a movie or a video game. And sometimes they'll seek you out, or you might meet them at a convention. One of the gentlemen that I'm working with now has one of the premier 1940s era pinup collections in the world. And he's talking to me about getting a commission, which means you're having the artist do custom artwork for them to go in his collection, because he doesn't have a Monty Moore pinup in his collection. And a lot of times they're very what I call completists. They want their collection to be very complete, or they'll only collect certain artists. Like he primarily collects Gil Elfgren, who is considered by many to be the master or grandmaster of pinup art from that era.
Wow, that's really cool. So is there any particular piece that you would say is probably one of your masterpieces?
Ooh, that's tough. I mean, I'm a fan of a lot of the artwork that I've done. There's a piece, probably this Star Wars piece. Let me grab it real quick.
Okay.
This is a smaller version of it. This is a licensed Lucasfilm print, which was available on StarWars.com and at convention years ago, and I show it as an example of my work and that sort of thing. But this was an original painting that was roughly 24 by 36 or maybe even 36 by 40. The original was all created by hand, and so a piece like this has over 100 hours in it to depict all the characters with pencil drawing and paint and that sort of thing.
Wow, that's really amazing. That's really cool. So where can people find your work online?
Obviously, if they just were to search my name, a lot of different places would come up. My company is called Maverick Arts. And so if they were to go to maverickarts.com or even the shorter version, which is mavarts.com, you can see a lot of artwork there. And then I have a film site that's just montymore.com that has some of the film work and things like that. And then I also do custom motorcycles, and I paint the artwork on the actual bikes, and that's called Maverick Custom Paint.
Well, thanks for your time and telling us about your collection.
Welcome.
All right, thanks.
Enjoy Gencon.
Oh, we will. Okay.